Hey, this is Pops, and recently I asked you guys to pick a couple of anniversary type movies, and Desperado was one of those. 30 years ago, 1995, Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, and this Robert Rodriguez action flick that I had high memory of and really had great perspective headed into this movie. So let's get into some of the highs and lows, what my thoughts are after rewatching it.
His face? No. I mean, every step he took towards the light, just when you thought his face was about to be revealed, it wasn't. Really?
All right, Antonio Banderas. He plays this sexy, dark, mysterious mariachi guy on this adventure and action flick directed by Rodriguez, and this really elevated him and completely blew him up as like a star power type thing in this role. And I have to be honest, it was a really fun seeing that experience, seeing his career over these last 30 years and going back to this film. And some of the sequences are really interesting. Now it puts him in the path here with Selma Hayek's character. She's this really beautiful and sexy owner of like a bookstore slash cafe. And what we learn to find out in the movie is obviously as the owner of this bookstore and cafe, she's also getting money from the guy that he's
Now,
out to
this
kill.
bar is full of real lowlifes. And in walks the biggest Mexican I have ever seen. All of a sudden, the bastard spoke. Oh, he said something like, bitch, or Bucho.
Steve Buscemi, he's really used as a great mechanism by Rodriguez to be the guy that goes ahead of the mariachi to kind of lay the groundwork of, hey, there's this crazy story about this guy, and I'm getting out of town. Y'all need to watch yourselves. So like kind of like setting the room, setting the mood. And it works for the film, and it works for the audience. We really kind of get geeked up, if you will, on what's going to happen and what's actually going to happen next. The great cutaways. You see him, but you don't really see him. I think this was really kind of the beauty of the film, and it works really exceptionally well. Cheech has a little cameo, a little bit. I guess they only had him for a few days and he had to film some scenes. So there's some different moments where he jumps behind the bar and stuff because that gave him the free reign, if you will, to keep shooting all this chaos around him without actually having him in the background because they were limited on what they could do and have him in these scenes. But he's great as well. It's always fun to see Cheech. Highlight of the film is just the action, the adventure, the chaos, the shooting scenes, the jumping through this, jumping through that. What can they do next? Just really fun stuff. I will say there's a couple of moments that I just thought were kind of absurd, but I also just had such a fun time watching the movie. That is the shot we got to talk about. Let's back that up. So the trailer is a little out of context, but yes, he's actually shooting at a guy. This was one of the worst moments for me because it's this interesting scene, lots of chaos, whatever. He's jumping and he's just doing this flicking thing with the guns. It was absolutely awful, so distracting, so ridiculously over the top. It does not hold up well. And then, of course, there's a scene where he's left with one other bandit, and they're like face to face. They keep grabbing a gun. Everyone's got ammo. Everything's got ammo. Okay, I don't want to. I didn't want to see the Russian roulette part, and then he just breaks his neck. It's like, oh dear lord. So not every moment, not every scene aged well for me, but I was having fun. And remember that? Remember we could have fun. The '90s were full of fun. What can I tell you? And let's be honest. I mean, they're both like these beautiful, sexy people that everybody talked about at the time and have talked about since. This great sequence with the uh, suitcase, the guitar case blowing up as a missile launcher, and the explosion in the background, which is again out of context. Remember when trailers didn't spoil all these scenes? You would see pieces, but then when you saw it again, you would actually see, oh wait, this didn't go with this. This went with that. This went with this. Remember when I just, oh, it was such better times. I, I hate being the dude that's like, get off my lawn, yell at the clouds, remember the old days. But if you could just take a pause and understand why this works, like Desperado is not some phenomenal movie and it did not age as well as I had hoped, but it does so many things well and better than today. I really have to be honest. The teaser and the trailer for this It gets you geeked up. It's so intercut with things that are not related but seem like they could be, like that missile launcher shot and this explosion, which is used for all sorts of promotional material. They're not next to each other at all. Two completely different parts of the movie. And the fact that we could actually just get characters that are going to show up and then not make it out the other side, and you have some emotional weight from that, but you don't have a ton of emotional weight. Like I kind of felt there could have been more with that, but I also feel like that's not what this film was trying to do, not what this film was trying to accomplish. So, I get it.
It's cool essay.
I guess I should mention the fact that, we do get a Tarantino because he and Rodriguez were coming up at the same time. Of course, they're going to work on From Dusk Till Dawn. They're working on Four Rooms. It is kind of a fun little piece. It's a fun little joke. It's Tarantino being Tarantino. I think I briefly mentioned it, but let me get into the fact that there is the twist, right? Where we're looking, the El Mariachi is looking for this guy, and you don't really know much about Bucho, but I will say Bucho is sort of like built a step by step by step. He's this drug kingpin. He's in the middle of this power play, if you will, with Colombians and all this. So he doesn't really understand what's going on. This El Mariachi guy's out there. Come to find out, of course, they're brothers, which I thought was fine, not totally believable. I felt kind of mixed on it. I don't feel like it held up as well as it did the very first time I watched it. So the movie's great. I enjoyed it. I had a fun time watching it, but maybe just not as much as I'd hoped. Can I also just give some love for like the movie guy? Like I really miss the movie guy voice. Like they called him Mariachi. He's a man out for revenge. And it's like, I miss the movie guy. It'd just be fun to like have the movie guy voice and cliche because it really was kind of fun. And reality is it sets up a really fun experience. It does hold up as far as fun and some of the shootouts, the general overtone of I mean, they lose all of her money in the store because she put them in the books was kind of and they just leave and then they come back and it's like, overall, I had a good time watching it. So I'm going to go Midland on it. I would probably have ranked this higher. If you had asked me my score before I watched it, I probably would have given it a lot more like a 3.5. Probably leans more into that 7, but I'm going to knock it down to a 3. Rewatchability is not as strong as I'd thought. Definitely not as strong of a film as I'd thought. But it does what it does. And it's unashamed of what it is. This 90s action shoot 'em up stuff. It makes stars out of its stars. It elevates the secondary characters into memorable roles. It does everything right to have a good time and earn your money watching or owning this film. And I remember learning about the El Mariachi for the first film, this uber low budget, made for like $7,500. He went into like a experimental clinic or something to earn that cash, and then when Dimension picked it up, they put in like a couple $100,000 to, redo the sound and all that. And that led to this movie. And then, of course, there's Once Upon a Time Mexico, which I probably should rewatch and do a video on that as well. But it made for a fun time. And it really made me appreciate like uber low budget action filmmaking, made me understand like how this stuff could be done in a way that everyone would enjoy their time in a theater. So totally self-aware, really had a good time watching it, but like I said, didn't quite hold up to the standard I thought I would actually bump this movie up, not down, but yeah, a couple of the gunfire scenes were really pretty subpar. And there's a couple like just loosey goosey with the general feel, and definitely some major plot armor. I mean, he goes into these bar fight scenes where he's just getting shot at by all sorts of automatic weapons, and then Danny Trejo. I didn't bring up Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo shows up throwing knives and gets him. I don't know, whatever. It's fine. Had a good time, but not as great of a time as I had hoped. So anyway, that's my little throwback movie right now. You guys tell me what you guys think. Am I too high, too low? What do you guys think? All right, Pops.